Camerounaises, Camerounais,
Fellow Cameroonians,
patriotes.
my dear compatriots,
Cette année encore,
this year,
la
the
pandémie
coronavirus pandemic
aura été
has
partout
yet again featured
l'un
among the major causes for concern worldwide.
les efforts
The
considérables
disease has not
jusqu'à présent
been eradicated despite significant efforts by the scientific community
n'ont pas
and
encore
governments.
permis d'enrayer cette
It is noted that the
Au
virus
fil du temps,
tends to adapt
on observe que ce
to
virus
our environment
a
over
tendance
time,
à s'adapter à notre environnement.
as evidenced by
L'apparition
the
de nouveaux
emergence of
variants
new
en la
variants, thus making control of the pandemic particularly challenging.
Elle continue malheureusement
Unfortunately,
d'ennuyer des familles,
it continues to plunge families into mourning, disrupt social life, and create economic distortions.
Devons-nous pour autant perdre espoir
Should we then
et
despair
nous résigner
and yield to pessimism?
À l'évidence, non.
Obviously, no.
L'histoire nous apprend
We learn from
que cette
history
épidémie n'est pas la
that
première.
this is not humanity's first epidemic,
Loin
and
d'être
it
la
is
dernière
undoubtedly
à
far
laquelle
from being
l'humanité sera
the last.
confrontée. Je suis du reste persuadé
By the way,
que nous arriverons
I am confident that we will overcome the coronavirus in the same manner as previous epidemics.
pour ma part.
For my part,
Je ne ménagerai aucun
I will spend no effort in ensuring that the requisite measures to stem its spread in our country are actually implemented.
La stratégie de riposte
The response strategy implemented by the government
des résultats
is yielding excellent results.
depuis 2 ans.
Over the
Elle a
past
permis
2
de
years,
sauver des vies.
it has helped to save lives and to curb the spread of COVID-19 in our
Elle
country.
doit donc se poursuivre
Accordingly,
et au besoin
it should be continued and,
afin de mieux s'adapter
as
aux
appropriate,
mutations de ces virus.
improved to better adapt to the mutations
Il est par
of this
conséquent
dangerous
impératif
virus.
de ne
Hence,
pas baisser la garde,
the need to stay
de
alert
continuer à
and to
respecter
continue
les
observing the
règles
rules of hygiène
et les mesures
and
barrières,
preventive measures
telles que le port du masque
such as
dans
wearing
les lieux
a mask in all
ou la
public places
distanciation physique.
or physical distancing.
Mais au
However,
regard de la nocivité de
given the virulence of
vaccination
the
constitue sans
virus,
doute
vaccination is definitely an additional preventive measure.
dans bien des cas,
In many
un
cases,
schéma complet de
a full vaccination course
permet d'éviter des
helps to
complications graves
avert
de cette
severe
maladie
complications
qui
of the
sont
disease,
généralement fatales.
which are generally fatal.
C'est la raison pour laquelle
That is
à
why
tous et à chacun
I urge each
de
and
se faire
everyone
vacciner.
to get
de
vaccinated
ne pas prêter le
and
plan aux
not to play
conjectures
heed
complotistes
to
qui
the
foisonnent
conspiracy
sur les
theories
réseaux sociaux
that abound
concernant
on social
le
media
vaccin contre le
about the coronavirus vaccine.
En effet,
Indeed,
en combinant
combining preventive measures with vaccination will enable
à
us
briser la chaîne
to
de
break the
contamination
chain
de
of
ce virus
contamination
et à
of
retrouver
this virus and
une
return
vie normale.
to normal life
Mes
more
chers
speedily.
compatriotes,
Dear
la
compatriots,
persistance de la crise sanitaire liée
notwithstanding the persistence of COVID-19 pandemic-related health crisis, we have remained focused on the targets to set within the framework of the National Development Strategy for the 2020-2030 period. Despite its adverse impact on the economic fabric, we have relentlessly continued implementing our transformational projects thanks to the sustained mobilization of non-oil revenue, the implementation of domestic budget consolidation measures, and support from our development partners. Fiscal reforms, particularly in the taxation and customs sectors, have boosted our capacity to mobilize funds from the international financial market. The credibility of Cameroon's signature thus helped to successfully refinance the Eurobond and to conclude a new economic and financial program with the International Monetary Fund. Thanks to financial resources mobilized both within and outside the country, substantial investments have been made to complete the first-generation transformational projects. These include completion of the first phase of the Yaoundé, Nsimale, Yaoundé, Douala, and Kribi Lolabe motorways. They have been operationalized under public-private partnerships. Construction of 914 kilometers of asphalted roads, extension of the health map with the commissioning of the Ebolova and Bafoussam referral hospitals, as well as the completion of that of Garoua. Implementation of projects to achieve energy self-sufficiency through continuation of construction work on the Nachtigal Dam and the completion of the hydropower transmission line from the Ndele Dam. Works are ongoing to interconnect the northern and southern electrical grids. The implementation of this project will contribute to a sustainable reduction of the energy deficit in our country's northern regions. At the same time, there was a need to continue ensuring private sector competitiveness in a macroeconomic environment severely disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is common knowledge that the pandemic has led to rising sea freight costs, thus directly increasing the price of essential goods. Aware of the huge sacrifices made by the national economic operators to mitigate the impact of the pandemic, I instructed the government to reduce by 80% the sea freight transportation cost to be included in calculating custom duties. The government must also continue discussions with the private sector to identify further measures that can be implemented. By the way, if we have to meet the growth challenge, we must strive to reduce our imports and increase the volume of our exports by boosting domestic production. In any case, it behooves us to create conditions for more robust, sustainable, inclusive, and employment-generating growth, particularly for our youth who are and will remain the primary beneficiaries of ongoing reforms in various areas. Considering the measures taken, we have reason to be optimistic about economic recovery and an uptick in our growth rate to 2.2% in 2020 from 3.6% in 2021. This positive outlook is consistent with that of a global return to growth as announced by the relative international bodies. Our country has the capacity to make the most of this situation. Dear compatriots, despite the challenges faced by our country, we continue to be respected on a global scale. The trust Cameroon enjoys among our partners is a result of our constant efforts to ensure that the country remains the haven of peace and stability that it has always been. To this end, we have stepped up our efforts to maintain peace and security nationwide. Boko Haram's sporadic incursions into the far north region in recent months have been met with stiff resistance from our defense forces. Once more, I wish to pay them a well-deserved tribute for their courage, commitment, and professionalism. I take this opportunity to commend the full mobilization of the nation's lifeblood, the population, and vigilant communities that are contributing decisively to the success of our popular defense strategy. I'm pleased to note that a large number of our compatriots who have joined armed groups have accepted my peace overture. Many Boko Haram members have laid down their arms and are being catered for in disarmament, demobilization, and the reintegration centers in the far north region. The same holds true in the northwest and southwest regions, where many members of armed groups continue to surrender. However, many of our compatriots remain within the ranks of armed groups. They continue to engage in criminal activities, increasing attacks with improvised explosive devices and murders of unarmed civilians. The recent assassination of 3 students and a teacher of bilingual high school Ekondo Titi added to their long list of abuses and atrocities. I would like once again to reiterate government's firm determination to restore peace in the regions that are under security threats. It should be clearly understood that wherever the perpetrators and sponsors of such acts are hiding, they will be relentlessly tracked down and will face the full force of the law. In this fierce fight against barbarism, I urge the Cameroonian people to step up collaboration with defense and security forces in order to neutralize the fanatics of armed violence and to preserve the integrity of our territory. Many of our compatriots have fallen in battle while engaged in this lofty civil and military defense task. May our determination to keep up the fight bring solace to them as their sacrifice for the Republic will not be in vain. They are role models for our youths, whom I urge to shun indoctrination attempts by secessionist groups. In this fight against terrorism, we plan to enlist the support of a wide range of partner states by debunking falsehoods about our country's human rights situation propagated within international circles by some of Cameroon's detractors. Dear compatriots, true to our commitment to peace and tolerance, we have continued to demonstrate openness and readiness for dialogue in order to call a halt to this crisis that has wreaked far too much suffering on our population. Thus, after holding the major national dialogue, we have continued to accelerate and deepen decentralization. Regions, as regional and local authorities, were set up this year and are beginning to find their feet. The Northwest and Southwest regions have been granted special status to reflect their cultural and language specificities. Overall, regionalization is being implemented countrywide and contributes towards increasing our fellow citizens' participation in the management of local affairs. These democratic strides very clearly demonstrate that our country is irreversibly and resolutely engaged in the methodical perfection of its democratic process in order to further meet the legitimate aspirations of the Cameroonian people. I am fully aware that some people would prefer that we move faster in this area. However, we must avoid any kind of haste that may undermine our country's unity and our Republican ideal. Surely, we will carefully and patiently do whatever needs to be done. In all circumstances, we must promote constructive and regular dialogue between the various sociological components of the Republic in order to mobilize them for our country's emergence. My dear compatriots, lately we have witnessed an upsurge in unpatriotic behavior, the proliferation of hate speech, and the posting of violent, obscene, and shameful videotapes which have shocked the nation's collective conscience. The persistent publication of fake news in the mainstream or social media has contributed towards sustaining falsehood, thus preventing many of our fellow citizens from getting the right information on the issues. Therefore, I appeal to your sense of individual responsibility and urge each of you to promote the culture of peace. I call on the government to step up efforts to raise awareness on the responsible use of social media by all social classes. We must remain a patriotic, united, and supportive people. We must cherish peace and seek harmony at all times. Let us resolve to actively ensure that these values promote living together, to which our people as a whole deeply aspire. Fellow Cameroonians, my dear compatriots, we are faced with specific challenges at the dawn of the new year. Our country will host the Africa Cup of Nations from the 9th of January to the 6th of February 2022. In the run-up to the tournament, we have all witnessed the profound transformation that has taken place in the cities that will host AFCON 2021 matches. The preparation of the tournament has helped to accelerate the infrastructural development of many of our cities. Urban roads have been constructed or rehabilitated. The technical capacity of existing health facilities has been upgraded. New hospitals with state-of-the-art equipment have been built in our regional capitals. Ultra-modern hotels have been built to accommodate official delegations, special guests and tourists who will visit Cameroon during the tournament. We will continue implementing this investment program by reducing the infrastructure disparities existing between the regions of our country in various areas. It is unacceptable that some regions should feel forsaken while others are progressing. That is why I decided to create state universities in the 3 regions of our country that do not yet have one, namely the East, North, and South regions. Other infrastructure will follow, particularly in the airport, industrial, and road sectors, in order to make each region a real development hub. To that end, we must enhance public finance management, governance by fighting corruption and embezzlement of public funds. Therefore, all those found guilty of financial malpractice or illicit enrichment will face the consequences before the competent authorities. My dear compatriots, as we prepare to celebrate African football, I urge Cameroonians to mobilize massively to make AFCON 21 the most beautiful football jamboree ever organized in our continent. We want it to be a great moment of brotherhood. It therefore behooves us to extend a warm welcome to the 24 sports delegation, officials, and all those who will be staying in our country during the tournament. Let us offer our guests the rich cultural diversity that has earned our country the nickname Africa in Miniature. Let us extend to them the hospitality and rightfully expect from us, and which is part of the parcel of our traditions. Thanks to the virtues of our people, particularly their courage and selflessness, we have not only overcome the ordeals encountered during this year that is ending, but we have also continued to forge ahead. As a nation, we have the duty and opportunity to remind the world that we are a united and indomitable people capable of displaying this fighting spirit that has enabled us in the past to win great battles. Before I conclude, I would like to call on our beloved indomitable lions to do their utmost to ensure that they end this festival in grand style on the evening of the 6th February 2022. Let us rise to the challenge and remind the world that we are a great nation. Happy and prosperous New Year. Long live the Republic, long live Cameroon.
Vive la République, vive le Cameroun.